here we go again for part 2. I'm going to try and do this all in one go. Not sure if I'll be successful or not. It's been a while since I've torn one of these apart. Please subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be doing more videos, how-to videos on transmissions. I'll shoot a better one on the next T56 I get. Got a T45 coming up pretty soon out of a well, what was 96 to 2000 Mustang GT. I'll be doing that soon. I've actually got an F-body Camaro. I'm going to be doing a rear end swap on them, as well shoot out a video on that too. Anyhow, I'm going to get back to this one right now. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Alright, that should work. Alright, what I have done here, there's a pin holding the 5th fork. I've already driven that out to make things go faster. Punch it straight down with a 3/16 punch. Okay. To speed things up, I have also removed the 4 1/2-inch bolts from the bearing retainer. Just kind of pop on it, it'll come out. Okay. This is the bearing retainer, the actual bearing race, and that'll come right out. And prying it gently with a screwdriver, and there are actually shims underneath here. There should be in here. Yeah, I can see shims, and there's a shim under here, which will allow you to adjust the in and out play of the main shaft. Right there. There's actually 2 of them in there, and that's what you would use your micrometer for, to adjust the to know how thick of a shim you're using. And then the dial caliper I showed you earlier with the magnetic base or the clamp-on base. You actually would clamp it on somewhere where you can get it. You put it on the tail shaft, and then you move the whole thing in and out. I'll get to that a little later. So put this somewhere where you won't lose it. Now, I forget what kind of bearings this input shaft uses on the inside. I think it's similar to a T5, where there's insert style bearings. So we're going to pull it out carefully. Just pull it out gently. See if I can. Nope, like so. I already dropped one, but that's okay. It's very handy if you have a magnet laying around. Okay, then I can show you. On the inside, they're just simple bearings, just like that. In fact, these look like the identical ones that came in a Mustang T5. So, if I had a bet, that's exactly what they are. So, to get these in, you coat the inside of this thing lightly with wheel bearing grease, and then you just insert them one by one. So, this I'm going to dump into my trusty bucket of parts. Inspect the gear for wear. Okay, you're inspecting the flat face of the teeth. Okay, make sure there's no grooves. In fact, what I like to do is take a screwdriver sometimes if you see some lines, and you can run it down. This one actually, it's a very minor, but that's not going to hurt. Sometimes you, when they run low on oil, especially the T5s, but you can actually, there's actually often a groove worn all the way through, and that's what that whining sound is. First, second, third, and 5th gear, it'll whine like crazy and go away in 4th, because your cluster shaft down here and your 4th gear are worn, and they have too much free play between the 2 of them. So this doesn't look too bad. No chipping, so you can feel the bearing, it's still nice and tight. You can tell if you got a bad bearing, it's going to have, be real sloppy on the race and loose. So make sure you, again, start putting your parts in organized places. Be more organized than me. Alright, next, I'm going to show you this 5th gear assembly that is a nightmare if you remove it wrong. Probably the most annoying part of the transmission. So let's prop this thing up. Does that work? Yeah. Okay, what I have here is I found my spare stash of Tremec 3550 old style TKO parts from a broken transmission, and It actually looks like fifth gear is identical between the 3550 TKO and the earlier one, although I have not counted the teeth to verify that. Okay, let's pull the bearing off. Alright, and inspect that bearing. You know, that one's just as tight. Spins good. There's no visible damage on the bearing surfaces. Alright, so here's what we have here. We've got the fork, okay? And then this is actually a two-piece setup, and that's what screws me up. Now on the inside of it, you see you have your keys, okay, that are held in by a horseshoe style, well, almost a horseshoe. It's almost a circular clip that holds the keys in, and it's just on this one side. I believe these are not built. So this actually will come off if you pull on it. Of course, you can replace the keys. Now you also want to on everything you pull apart, inspect the dog teeth. Okay, those are the little houses right here. This one's nice and crisp, although this is the my extra part. What you do not want to do when you're pulling it apart, okay, what I always do is I try to pull this unit out first, okay? Do not separate this unit and that. That's when all the bearings fall out. The bearings go in between here and here. There's a lot of them, and it takes a lot more than 20 minutes. I told you earlier I'd show you a synchro. This is what to expect in there for first, second, third, fourth, and fifth too. And you see, it's just a brass synchro. The newer one should have a nice carbon fiber lining on the inside of it. Now what we're going to do here, I believe, we're going to go ahead and grab a hold of the fork, okay? As well as fifth gear, I'm going to grab the whole thing from the front and back and keep it squeezed together. Pull the fork at the same time as I pull the whole unit out as one assembly, and hopefully it will not fall apart on me. Easier said than done. Pulling the fork off, just the fork without the fifth gear, that's when you it gets separated and you lose all your bearings. So just be patient with it. It's halfway off. I might use something to pry on. I just don't want it to pop off. Come on now. I just wonder if this is keep. Yeah. Okay. Wiggle the main shaft around. Shit. Sorry about that. Oh, it looks like I lose again. Now I get to show you. God. Exactly. Fail. Well, it is what it is. Maybe there's no avoiding that. Here's the fork, and these tabs look alright on here. So I'm going to stash this away. Damn it. See, they actually they go inside of here, and so this can spin. Oh, there's more bearings on the other side too. I don't want to lose them. So, and this spins. And here is all the bearings down here. That's only half of them. I believe there's more of them in there. So do not lose one of them. I happen to have extra from another transmission, but you probably will not. So make sure you collect them all. I'm going to use a magnet here. It's alright, this is just time consuming. It's not necessarily difficult to put all these back in. So I guess that means I get to show you guys later how to put them all back in. Hang with me for a minute and I'll start on the rest of it. This is why you want to use one of these drip trays underneath when you're doing this, because you don't want to lose anything. Okay, I'm just going to put this all in here. Alright. Bearing race falls right out. Good. Internal speedo gears. Looks like they've got one for mechanical and one for digital type speedo, so you can run need a setup. That's actually kind of cool. Okay, this should lift out. We got part of it falling apart from the front end already. I don't want that to happen yet. Let me figure out my best method of approach here. I think it's just going to lift straight up and out, just like the T5 would. Let's try, huh? Yep. Alright. Oh, wow, this is heavy compared to the T5. Damn, these things are solid. It's got to weigh 25, 30 pounds, maybe more. Alright. Good deal. There's a cluster shaft. Alright. I don't want this to fall. Okay. I'll get back to this in a minute. I want to show you the bottom of the case. Okay. That would be a cluster shaft. Inspect the gear teeth for any wear on the face of the teeth. Again, you can use a fine screwdriver to feel the imperfections. You don't want to see any chips or anything. There should be a magnet on the bottom of this thing. Yeah, I see it. And you want to drain the fluid and inspect that for any broken parts that may have fallen. Now there's more of those needle bearings on, I believe this is the reverse down here. I never removed that, haven't had to yet. I'm not going to remove this cluster shaft either. I'm not doing a bearing swap. Generally these kind of transmissions, you just do an inspect and reuse on the bearings unless you have some broken ones. And like I said, this thing was absolutely fine when I pulled it apart. He was just worried about a vibration, but there's definitely some wear in this unit. Now, it's been a while since I yanked this. It looks like, okay, there's another part that goes with this. That actually goes. I'll show you later. That actually looks pretty clean. That would be a 5th gear synchronizer. Alright. Now, if I remember right, if you were going to replace it, yeah, this just pops out, okay? Okay, pull this off. Alright, and then this is nothing but a bearing race right here. Alright, pop the bearing race out. Okay, and then after that, the cluster should come out. There's a chance if it's set up like a T5 that you might need to pull the shaft up and push it through the hole a bit, and then use one of your bigger punches like this through here on the bearing race. This is how I always get my black and blue thumbs, and go like that on the actual bearing to pound it down off the shaft. That's what I have to do on the T5s, and this looks like a very similar setup. So if you come across that circumstance, that's how you get that bearing off. Let's set this aside. I'm done with this for now. Let's see if I can't pull this thing apart while we're still shooting one video here. Make sure that there's no parts that fell. Alright, here's more stuff, and like I said, make sure you know the order at which it's all come off. Alright. Here's the next synchronizer setup, and okay, inspect all that. There is some wear on that. I don't know how the lighting is here for you. It's not too bad, but you can see the wear on the dog tooth. I would reuse this. It's just a little bit shiny on the very tips. Okay, so this rides on this to slow down. This would be your, where am I at? Would be your 4th gear synchro. This is one of the ones that's going to get swapped out for the carbon fiber unit. What I'm going to do here is I think I'm going to put everything in the order it comes off of on the bench. And so, what, maybe face down. Some of these may press off, okay, so I may have to stop. Bearing race. Still hot out here. I think, yeah, definitely. Okay, don't forget that. That's what the bearing rides on. And again, I'm putting them in order, upside down in order they go. Make sure you take plenty of pictures and photographs as you do this. I've got a computer full of them already. Okay, good. This hub is not pressed on. That's fantastic. Okay. Here's the 3/4 slider. Okay. Again, they have the circular clip holding that in. Here are the keys. I do believe they make billet shift keys for these, although these look pretty stout. Now we're inspecting once again the dog teeth, the little houses. Those look fine. Right here too. We got a little bit of wear going on here. Definitely a little rounded. I don't know if you can see that or not. I don't know how well this thing's going to focus. You know, you're looking right here, and it's not as sharply formed. Often, if it's a judgment call on whether you need to reuse it or not, you can ask the customer, or if it's your own transmission, how it shifted beforehand. If it shifted just fine, and it's kind of on the border of whether to reuse it or not, you can reuse it. This is a little worn, but it's not too bad. I'll reuse this. I'll probably even have an extra one up there from the old 3550. I may give it to him since he's my friend. So let's put this, the order came off of, okay? This way was up. So I'm going to put that down right here. All right, now, third gear synchro. Like I said, they're all brass, no carbon lining. So far, this is removing real easy. These transmissions are pretty simple. Okay, third gear. Let's see how she looks. Okay, definite wearing. This poor transmission has been beat hard. I said a little supercharged Mustang coupe. Wow. Yeah, it's you can see hopefully that the teeth are worn halfway up. I have to read the manual. There's a free T50, what is this, TKO manual on the, I think it's a 3550 manual, but like I said, these transmissions are pretty much the same. Free manual that indicates when you should replace parts and when you shouldn't. And I think the rule of thumb is 30% wear on these dog teeth here. This here is another judgment call. I mean, these parts get really expensive in a hurry. This is definitely worn. Would I reuse it? I got to talk with my friend and find out his budget. Would a shift? Yeah, but I mean, he's looking at several hundred horsepower down the track, and it probably would be best to replace this unit. It's going to get expensive. All right, so let's put that there. All right, now this comes off in a couple different pieces. Okay, I can still turn that a little sideways. Okay, looks like, make sure that, remember the orientation. Okay, this is the plastic bearing. You don't generally replace these. Just make sure that it's not broken, cracked, and you're not missing any of the bearings. Right, came off like that. And this is what the bearing free, the gear free spins on the shaft. I'm going to put that once again, and the order came off of right inside there. Now it looks, oh yeah, these clips. Okay, these units are held in by, this is like a locking clip right here. I think if I just toss it upside down, it'll fall out. These two pieces right here. Well, that came out. Okay, indeed. These are really easy to install and remove. Okay, put that down, and the order came off of. They just, that's it, man. They don't really snap on or anything. They just, when they're put in there, they lock together. Alright. Here comes, where am I at? Second gear. Second gear usually gets all the abuse. Let's see how this one looks. Third gear is worse than second. This is actually probably reusable. You can still see the wear at the very tips of the dog teeth, but this is not bad. There's a few that are worse than the other ones. Whew, some of them over here are worn worse than the others. But I wonder how close I can get. See if you can see that. The actual gear teeth, they look good. There's no chipping. I would probably recommend keeping this. Third gear so far though. Now generally first gear you don't replace it unless it's really worn, because you never speed shift in the first anyhow, so it shouldn't wear. bearing, plastic bearing cage bearing. Alright, let's see where we're at. We're at the slider now. Do I want to pull this apart? I don't know if I want to pull that apart or not. Next synchro. Man, it is hot. Yeah, that's what I thought. You know what, this hub, I forget if this hub comes off. Well, you know what, in the sake of learning, let's pull it apart. Alright, ready? I'm going to grab it. And I'm just going to pull straight up. See if I can... I'm going to aim the camera up a little. Alright, let's try that. Slowly, these keys will fly out. Oh, there it is. Okay. See what kind of shape these keys are in. Okay, these are keys. Generally, you reuse these things, even on T5, just as long as they're not all screwed up or broken. These are alright. That is inside here. That's what that looks like. That holds it on. Just a simple clip, one on top, one on bottom. They go on opposite directions, so like that, and then maybe the bottom one would be opposite of that. I forget if this hub comes off. This hub does come off. There's a snap ring on that hub. Apparently there's a bearing in here too. Okay, do not lose that. I almost lost that. I know I have extras. Little tiny bearing. Okay, that's gonna go right in that hole, right there, and it'll fall right out. Now I'm not sure, but I think in order to get this, yeah. See, this fifth gear right here is one part with the main shaft. So in order to get first gear off, which I may not do because I'm not upgrading that synchronizer. So, but it's pretty easy. I've done it before. Go ahead and use your snap ring pliers, the ones that look like this.